Hi, Passionators. I know 2 days in a row, right? It's unusual, but here I am again. And I was hoping you guys could tune in one more time for a few minutes while it's still got a little bit of daylight. And I'm not outside this time. There's still a little bit of sunlight left in the window, so I thought I'd take advantage of it. And of course, I'm wearing my usual equipment because of all the background noise. And since I am still out in public, I'm trying to be somewhat mindful of that. So, hi, come on in. Let's talk about the fact that you are not chosen for who you are. Because, yeah, that seems to be a really popular thing to believe about how you end up being with the person that you're with. And it, a lot of people believe that it's because they're so amazing, that they're so fantastic. And they may very well be. You very well could be this amazing, fantastic person, and I truly hope you are. I hope you're putting in the effort that warrants that kind of a description. I really, really do. Because that's really part of the reason why you're here in the first place. But when it comes to building relationships, it's not what relationships are built on. It's not what keeps them together. It's not even what attracts people to each other. I know that's the media, that's the press, that's the popular point of view. But the truth is, people don't choose you for who you are. They choose you for who you are to them. That's why when you're so quick to roll out the list of what you want in a partner, it really doesn't matter. It's not Christmas. The universe is not your personal Santa Claus. And you don't get what you want just because you can make a list. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. You end up with what you want for one reason and one reason only. Because whatever it is you believe you want also wants you. That's it, that's all. It's not complicated at all. But that's why people choose the partners that they have. They choose their partners based on what that person represents to them, not just who you are to yourself. Now, who you are to yourself is important to you. It decides how you move through the world. It decides how you get from one day to the next day. It chooses how you make choices. The way you see yourself is the pivot that everything else in your life turns on. Everything. Everything. What you allow, what you don't allow, what you'll tolerate, what you'll accommodate, all of those things and a whole lot more are based on how you see yourself, on who you are to you. The mistake is when we believe that that somehow mysteriously translates to other people and that they see us the same way, or that they see us the way that we believe we see ourselves. And they don't. They just don't. They never do, they never have, and they never will. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that you need to be aware of. That no matter how wonderful you have become, no matter how wonderful you are, no matter what a great person, if that's not what the person that you want is looking for, you won't connect. If you manage to get together, it's not going to be what you wanted it to be. That's part of the reason why love isn't enough to keep people together. It makes a great Hallmark card, but that's really not what happens with long-lasting, loving, happy couples. It's like, of course they love each other, but that is not why they stay together. They stay together because they share a vision. They share compatibility. They share values. Let's face it, there are a whole lot of people that you love that you can't be in a relationship with. Let that one marinate. Just because you love somebody isn't a good enough reason for you to be in a relationship with them. Some people find that surprising. It's actually the truth. It's not a good enough reason for you to be in a relationship with them. That whole unconditional love thing is very true. Love is unconditional. But too many people take that to mean that no matter what I do, no matter how I act up, you're going to love me and stay with me and you're going to like it. It's not how this works. What it really means is that I will love you no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter what comes. I will love you. But being in a relationship, that's highly conditional. Love is unconditional. Relationships are not. Relationships are built on trust. Trust is difficult to establish and easy to destroy, almost impossible to repair. That's how relationships are built. That's why you can't be in a relationship with somebody that you don't trust. And you can't trust somebody who won't be honest. And you can't be honest until you are honest with you, about you, and about what you require. That's how this works. There's so much more to it than love, and people get together for attraction and find out that that's not enough. Chemistry isn't enough to keep you together. Chemistry is necessary. Chemistry should always be there, but it'll never be enough to hold a relationship together. And when the chemistry fades, if you don't have compatibility, if you don't have communication, if you don't have cooperation, collaboration, all those other fabulous C words that mean teamwork, the relationship will fall apart, even if they keep coming back home. I see a lot of things online lately about how to get your ex back. And it's very popular stuff. A lot of people want to know that. For whatever reason, they think that it's a great idea to try to get their ex back. But here's the real truth about that. Most people that are trying to backtrack really don't need to be backtracking. And a lot of the people who should be trying to get their ex back really should be trying to get their mates back. They think that their mates aren't exes because they keep coming home and they've already checked out of the relationship. They checked out a long time ago. They exed themselves. And you need to get that ex back. Get the ex back that's lying next to you every night. Get the ex back that shares keys to where you live. Get that ex back. Focus on that ex and stop worrying about your history. It's history for a reason. Leave your past in your past. Get the ex back that's in your face every day. You know, the one that you overlook. The one that you think you already know. The one that you believe that just because they've been there for so long that they'll always be there. You know that one. The one that knows exactly how you like your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The one that knows what your favorite things in the world are. The one that knows your deepest secret and your greatest fear. That's the one you need to get back. The one that stood by you. The one that's lying next to you. And if that's not the person lying next to you, then you need to make a change. because that's what relationships are for. They're to teach you how to be you at your absolute best. They're to show you yourself in a way that you would never see yourself without them. And so if that's not the reality that you're living with, then you need to make a change if you want a different result. Now, if you don't mind the result that you have, great. Then you're exactly where you should be. Maintain it. But if you want a different result, if you actually want the kind of love that you say you admire in other people, then you have to do what's required to have it. And if you can't trust, you're starting off failing. You're starting off failing. And every question you ask about how to get your ex back won't even matter. Because even if they came back, they'd be gone again. And it wouldn't take them anywhere near as long to leave. We've all seen that happen. Sometimes it's even happened to us. But we've seen it. Don't think. Something just came to mind. I saw a post today on somebody else's wall that was about cheating. This couple was together for about 4 years, and one of them found out that the other one had been cheating for most of that time. And they discovered it. I don't know how they discovered it, but they discovered it. And then when they were confronted, they confronted their mate about it. They talked about it. And then they heard stuff like, I'm done with cheating. I'm through. It's just going to be you and I forever. Right? So a few weeks, few months later, the person who was betrayed was being accused of being insecure because they still had questions, or they were still asking, or there were still inconsistencies in their mate's behavior. And the betrayer says, you're so insecure. Let it go. It's not that big a deal. It's not even like that anymore. I told you I'm done. Right? So the betrayed person wanted to know whether or not they should hang on because they loved their mate so much. Or were they really just being bamboozled? They wanted to know. And for whatever reason, felt like Facebook was the place to find out. Well, first of all, coming to Facebook is a big clue that what you really want is somebody to confirm what you already know you're going to do. But aside from that, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that they really want a sincere answer to that question. The truth was in the question. The answer was in the question. Everything that they needed to know to make an informed decision was already in the question. They couldn't trust their mate anymore. And their mate's behavior hadn't changed enough for them to be sure of the fact that anything was any different. So after the I'm sorry, after the OMG, after the I didn't mean it, after the I was just upset, after whatever it was, after you didn't give me, you didn't show me, you weren't, if you hadn't done this, then I wouldn't done that, whatever it is, just understand that when that's what you're hearing, if you stay, you'll be doing it again. If you stay, you'll be living with it again. It may have a new name, it may not. It may have the same name. It may come back. It may never have stopped in the first place, which is usually the case. But if their response to this trust violation is, I said I was sorry, you let it go. Stop being so insecure. but behavior hasn't changed. Their way of seeing it hasn't changed. They have no remorse. They haven't even acknowledged that they understand how deeply you were affected, how badly you were wounded, why it hurt you so much. They haven't acknowledged that. And they've done nothing on their own to reassure you that anything would be any different going forward. They haven't done it. At least not consistently. They may do it temporarily just to get you to shut up about it because they don't want to talk about it. Trust and believe they don't want to talk about it because if they're not remorseful, it makes them feel bad to talk about it because it goes against how they see themselves. That's why they justify, and that's why they come up with other quote-unquote reasons for why they did it in the first place that have anything and everything to do with somebody other than themselves. So just understand that apologies are meaningless. And to a great degree, so is behavior. And I'm a big fan of watching people's behavior to find an indication of how they really feel and what they really mean. If you have to choose between believing their words and believing their actions, I believe their actions all day long. It's much more difficult to lie by what you do than it is by what you say. Yeah, we both know that. That's where that phrase, "it's easier said than done," comes from. It is easier said than done. People will tell you anything to get what they want from you. However, they will also do some things if they think that will be beneficial to getting what they want from you. So rather than just watch actions, watch patterns. Patterns will tell you everything they need to know, everything that you need to know. If the only time they act like they love you is when they think you're about to leave, understand that that's not love. That they didn't just wake up one day and suddenly decide that they can't live without you. That's not what happened. That's really not what happened. But they're nervous because you're about to upset the way they're used to living. You're about to make them uncomfortable. They don't want to be uncomfortable. So they will do a lot of things. They'll do whatever it takes to get you to change your mind. And that's why many times when you do change your mind and you do go back, that in a very short time, you're right back where you started or worse. Because it was never about loving you. You went back without any significant changes at all. You went back to what you left. You went back to all the same things that you left in the first place. You went back to the same attitudes. You went back to the same way of seeing things. You went back to the same way of doing things. There might have been some tears and some rose petals, but you still went back to the same way of doing things. And that's ultimately what you end up living with. You don't end up living with the way people feel. You live with what they do. You live with the consequences of what they do. So when that happens, when you wonder if they really love you, and the only time that they show it is when they think someone else might be interested in you, or they think you might actually be on your way out, then suddenly they want to fight for you. Suddenly they want to make all these big gestures about how much you matter to them. Understand that that's all a lie. Just understand it. If you accept that that's on you, just understand that it's a lie, and you will very soon be faced with the reality that it's a lie. It'll be staring you in your face in a way that you can't deny it anymore. So just understand that. I'm not suggesting what you should do or shouldn't do. Those choices are always up to you. But what you don't get to do is make choices that lead you further away from what you say you want and then complain that you don't have it. That's what you don't get to do. As a fully formed adult, you gotta own your stuff. Just own it. Whatever it is that you're willing to tolerate, accommodate, negotiate, own it. And then accept it. And don't whine about it. Don't complain about it. Just accept it. Because it's what you chose. It's what you chose. It's not who they are. It's not how they are. It's what you chose. At the end of the day, it's still the choice that you made. So if you want a different result, then you have to make a different choice. Maybe that choice is another person. Maybe that other person is you. Maybe you need to be another you. Maybe. Just maybe. But the fact is, you're going to be another you anyway. With the passage of time and with everything that happens in life, just as life goes on, you'll be another you. And you'll require different things. And maybe the relationship will flow with it, and maybe it won't. But as a fully formed adult, you need to be ready to accept the responsibility for that, whatever that means, wherever it leads. That's your job. That's not your mate's job. Your job. Anyway, I guess that's about it for me for tonight. I've already had you for a couple of days, so I won't be too greedy this time. But later this week, I may come back if you send me something interesting or if I see something worth talking about. You know, this relationship thing is always going to be on my mind and in my heart because at the end of the day, I'm just a soldier of love on a very big battlefield, fighting a very big war. But I believe that it can be won. I know that love always wins. It's all this other stuff that's masquerading as love that makes it look bad. But love always wins. So I encourage you to give it a chance. Give love a real chance. And just believe it. Because it will absolutely change your life if you allow it to. But you have to want your life to be changed first. A lot of people really don't want that. But that's another video for another time. If you'd like to share this video, please do. I appreciate it. I'm trying to reach people that I can't reach by myself. So if you'd like to help me, that's awesome. And as usual, have a fabulous evening, have a fabulous day. I'm not sure what time it is where you are. Make it a great week. Thank you for joining me. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to make a comment anyway. I'll be back to address them. And I'll definitely be looking for what else you have to say. But for now, the sun is going down. I'm losing my light. So I'm going to say goodnight for now. And thanks again for tuning in. Rest well, Passionators. For tomorrow, we rise to love one more time. I love you totally. Bye-bye.